Hey y'all, today I'm going to tell you about my favorite way to make half square triangles. I am planning a sawtooth star, and I just like to use half square triangles for that. Usually use flying geese, although you can make flying geese with this method too. I'm doing half square triangles. So this is called the Triangulations method. Triangulation software. It's called a software online, but really it is just a PDF full of these half square triangle pages. It's like 64 different pages on the PDF, and each one is a different, like, 1/8 of an inch. So this one, the cut size is 3 1/8. The sewn size is 2 3/4. The finished size is 2 1/4. So I am making a sawtooth star with a charm pack, and this is what I worked it out that I needed the half square triangles to be. So let me show you. I've chosen my two colors that I'm going to do the half square triangles out of, just a white on white and a green. I have cut those. I've cut my papers down so there's just like a 1/4 of an inch all the way around the triangulations part. So this should fit on my fabric. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my fabric down to right here. And I'm using 108, so I'll probably be able to get multiple things out. So I'm just going to cut it about 7 1/2, which is where that is. Okay, I lied. I ended up cutting these 7 inches by 10 1/2 inches. That's going to vary depending on how many of the half square triangles are on your page. Each page has a varying different amount. I mean, I think it goes all the way up to 6 inches for the half square triangles. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this one happens to have 12 half square triangles on it. So from each 10 1/2 by 7 inch cut of fabric, I will get 12 half square triangles. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 pieces of fabric and I'm going to put them right sides together. And then I'm going to put this on top of this and pin it. I'll show you. Okay, here's it on top. I haven't pinned yet. But I have a little bit of overhang on the bottom. That's fine. It doesn't quite go to the edge of the paper, but that's fine. These little dotted lines are where you're going to sew, and these solid lines are where you're going to trim. So as long as all of the solid lines are over top of fabric, both pieces of fabric, you will be fine. Okay. We are trimmed, or we are pinned and ready to go. See those little arrows right there? So you're going to start at one of those corners, and you're going to put your needle down right there. And then you are just going to very slowly and very carefully follow these dotted lines. You are essentially creating paper pieced half square triangles. This is newsprint paper that I have printed on. That's what I use for half square triangles. And you do want to lower your stitch length to make, because you are cutting these apart, so that's going to cause them to come apart a little bit if you're not careful. And you want the paper to come off easily. So I usually use my stitch length when I'm typically piecing at about a 2, and when I'm doing this, a 1.25 possibly. So all you have to do, and I'm trying to do this one-handed while I line this up, is you're just going to line that up right there, okay? I don't know if you can see that. And then I'm going to drop my needle. Pray it doesn't come unthreaded. Me and this machine fight sometimes. Okay, you're going to drop your needle right there. And then you are just going to follow these little lines. So I'm going to sew all the way down here, and then I'm going to sew this way, and then I'm going to sew this way, and you eventually end right here. It's really, really genius. You end right where you've started. The lady, I'm not sure her name, but the lady who made up this quote-unquote software really was genius. So I'm just going to sew all the way along this line, and then I will continue from there. Okay, now I have sewn all of those little dotted lines, I guess. And now I'm going to trim all of the straight lines all the way around, and then I'm going to trim up the middle then trim here, and then cut them apart. So bear with me. Now, the great part about this method is that, yes, you're trimming them right now, but beyond this, you don't trim them again. You don't have to square them up. You don't have to have a special half square triangle ruler with the little groove and all of that. Once you do this and iron them open, you're done, which reminds me I need to plug my iron in. I made a quilt with over 800 half square triangles. Probably was actually over 1,000. I haven't done the math recently. And this is the method that I used. I believe it was, I don't even remember where I learned about this method from. I can't remember if it was a local quilt lady who told me about it or if I learned about it online. But I tell you, I've never went back. If you've never paper pieced before, don't be intimidated. I also forgot to mention that I'm going to trim that line right there at the corners. If you've never paper pieced before, it's not a big deal. This is literally like the best introduction to paper piecing. But even if you have another method that you like, it's a little bit expensive to get the PDFs. I want to think it's about $30, but I mean, you can't beat it. It's so fast and easy. I've just made 12 half square triangles with almost no effort. So you can also trim right here. I don't always do that. I mean, I feel like you should, but let's be real. Okay, now you just pull your paper off. And again, if you use that shorter stitch length, then it's much easier to do. And there you have a perfect 2 3/4 inch half square triangle. And then you just cut them apart over and over and over again. I swear by this method, like I said. It's so fast, it's so easy. I'm not trimming up half square triangles for days and days and days. And there it is ironed, and it is just a perfect. And they have, I think she has it listed on her thing from like 2 inches or 1 inch and something all the way up to like 6 inches and something. But super fast, super easy way to make your half square triangles. Triangulations software, you can just Google it. I hope you could give it a try.